Welcome and thank you for joining us. The Impact, a place where you can experience impactful information because your experience is your story. I am Dennis Blake, your host and author, two-time Olympian and Olympic bronze medalist. We're so happy to have with us Savatheda Coke, formerly known as Savatheda Fines, is a retired professional female track and field athlete from Bahamas who specialized in the 100-meter and 200-meter dash and was inducted in the Michigan State University Athletics Hall of Fame. Savatheda is a two-time Olympian and Olympic gold medalist. She has represented Bahamas and Michigan State University around the world. She is ranked amongst the world's most prominent sprinters. Welcome, Savatheda Coke.
Thank you, Savatheda Coke, otherwise known as Savatheda Fights, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for joining us on The Impact, where your experience is your story. All right, we are going to start from the beginning because that's where we need to start, right? Why don't you describe to us a little bit of your childhood? How was that when you were growing up? Tell us a little about that.
I was born and raised in the Bahamas. I'm from what we call the Family Island. So it's not the city Nassau. I'm not from Nassau. I'm from one of the Family Islands.
Okay.
So my island is called Abaco. I was born and raised there most of my life. Went to elementary school there. Started high school there before I moved on to Nassau. Now, do you want to know about my life in Abaco before moving on to Nassau?
Well, let's dig a little deeper. Did you start running track when you were in elementary school, primary school, high school? When did you start running track?
Well, I seriously started in high school, but every kid, it starts from somewhere, and the basic or the foundation basically is elementary school. Mm-hmm. So for me, it was, elementary school where I really started and picked up the joy and love for running, just competing against, other, schoolmates and classmates and everything like that, like everybody else. For me also, just, during recess, we would just go and just race against each other.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And at that time you were living with your mom.
Yes.
How much of an influence was your mom to your track and field beginning at the early stage of your career?
Well, at that stage, we didn't really have a teams to per se that we train with or anything. So at that time, it was just in elementary school where you were just running and racing against other kids during recess, or even if they have a school our inter-house or inter-school day, where you compete against everybody in the school. Then we'd compete that way. Then there's also where my mom, I think it wasn't until I actually reached high school, I think it was 7th grade, where I finally I got a little more exposure, because now you're in high school. So with that being said, now I was able to the PE teacher, a physical education teacher at the time, he noticed that I guess I was more that that I had more, a lot of abilities. And this is now where he spoke to my mom and told my mom, well, in Abaco, there's not a lot of opportunities for me over here, that I should move now from Abaco into Nassau, into the city, which is bigger, where there was more opportunities for me in track and field. And so that's where now it evolved from me being on the island to now me moving into the city, and things just went from there.
Okay, so you would say that your biggest influence was your coach?
Yes, definitely. My biggest influence at the time, was my coach. Him seeing me and noticing that picking up at that age that that I had, I guess, some talent, and telling my mom, and then my mom taking it from there and sending me off to into Nassau.
Okay, all right. So now you move away from Abaco to Nassau. So you went to high school in Nassau, correct?
Yes.
All right. So tell us a little about your track and field experience in high school. What was that like? Were you the fastest girl on the team? Were you among the fastest? Did you see yourself as one of the top athletes in high school?
When I first moved to Nassau, with that, with that goal in mind, the first thing that I had to do was, join the track team of the school that I went to. So that came about with one day they're announcing that they're about to they want people to sign up for the track team, and I did sign up for the track team, and from then it went on to me, and running with the track team, and just grew from there.
Okay, so so did you play any other sports, or track and field was just it? That was it?
Well, not in my early high school. I didn't. It wasn't until maybe like I reached like 12th grade that I finally decided that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to, instead of just everything being track and field, I wanted to try like one or two other sports. So within that, I tried, just for fun, I played volleyball, and then I also played softball.
Okay, good. And you weren't as competitive in that, or?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah, track took over.
Yes, it
So,
did.
what make you specialize in the sprints as opposed to running, as opposed to doing some field events? What was it that really, was it the coach who said running is where you need to stay, or?
Well, I think, I never even thought about field event, to be honest with you. That wasn't even an option.
No long jump, no high jump, no.
No, that wasn't even an option. For me,
Okay.
my thing was on the track.
Okay.
Well, I think we choose sprinting for me because I guess he realized that that I can only go so far. I wasn't that continuous runner. So I was basically a shorter, I guess, faster outburst. With the leg turnover and everything. So that's why that's something. That's how I ended up, in sprinting.
So during high school, did you see, was there something in your mind? Did you foresee a segue to get a scholarship to come to the United States? Was that something in the back of your mind while you were training, while you were running? Did you have that in mind?
No, I sure didn't have that in mind. That was definitely not one of my goals at the time. With my first coach, the first coach that school that I went to, he didn't. I don't think he wanted me to move abroad. That was his thing for me. He didn't want me to move abroad. So because of that, I never really thought about it, even though, in high school, I made Carifta teams, I made CAC teams and all those teams, but I still never thought beyond just high school.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't until, he and I got into a little altercation and I left his group I found that I started rethinking things.
Yes. So what were some of the challenges you encountered during your high school track and field career? I know you just mentioned that you and your coach had a little bit of altercation and stuff like that, and it caused you probably to move somewhere else. What are some of the other experiences? Did you have any injuries, anything like that?
In high school, I had maybe like one or two injuries, and neither of them was anything, that really altered anything, my performance or anything of that sort. Injuries that maybe lasted like a couple of weeks, nothing, whole year injury or anything of that sort. So in high school, I didn't really have like any major or serious injuries.
Okay. That's a blessing.
That was a blessing.
That's a blessing, absolutely. So now we're going to step a little further now into college. What was that like when you got that scholarship paper? What was it like when someone tell you that they're interested in you to come to the United States and go to school? Sometimes we say for free, but a scholarship is not free because you have to run your
work
tail
for
off.
that.
You have to work for that. So tell us a little bit about that first initial experience when you get that first paper that says we would like to offer you a scholarship.
Well, funny enough, like I said to you earlier, I wasn't really thinking about coming abroad. But
Mhm.
so I guess my coach, now my new coach, she was thinking about me coming abroad more than I was, because
Okay.
at the time, I was already making up in my mind that um, high school is about to end. So now I'm leaving Abaco. Sorry, I'm leaving Nassau and I'm moving back to the island, home to the
Oh,
island.
okay.
So in my mind, that is what I was thinking until I got the call. Until I got the call from her one day and said, "I got a scholarship for you." And again, it was one of my other teammates. Her name was Charmaine, to go to. Here we go again to New Orleans,
Mhm.
Southern University at New Orleans.
Okay. And so, were you excited? Were you scared? What?
I was a little nervous. Again, I'm going abroad. I'm going to be on my own for the first time.
Okay, because I was just about to ask you if there were any other athletes at the school at that time.
I didn't know anyone at the school at that time.
Okay.
But just that me and another athlete, we were going because I think what happened is she got a package deal for us, myself
Oh,
and another she was a 400-meter hurler.
okay.
So she got a package deal for us to go together. So now
Oh,
she'd be the only person that I would be and that I know at the school. I hadn't before. I didn't even know anything about
anyone?
the university.
Okay, good. I know that can be daunting for someone who um, coming from a small island. You mentioned Southern University in New Orleans.
Yes,
Um, so that was the initial university you attended.
yes.
What was it that caused you to want to leave that university to take up scholarship at Eastern Michigan University?
First of all, from the very first day that I got there and I spoke to the head coach there, I told him that I would only be spending a year there. So right up
Oh,
front, I told him that. I told him that I only wanted to spend a year there, and he said, he honored my wish, to be honest with you.
oh, okay.
So when it was time for me, when I did receive a call from another coach at some point in time, who I didn't even know him at the time until they
Mhm.
called me up, um, uh, so he just said he just let me go because I had told him from the very beginning that I only wanted to be there for a year.
Why is that so? Why did you want to just be there for a year?
Well, after I went there, even though it was okay, I wasn't the facilities. I didn't have the facilities that I really expected from a
Oh, from a
university.
university. Okay.
So yeah, and with that, me going there and seeing the facilities that we had there, I just told them that I'd just be here for a year.
For a year. Okay.
Yes.
And so you transferred to Eastern Michigan. Tell us a little about that. How was that? Before you transfer again to Michigan State University.
Well, the reason why I went to, I got a call out of the blue one day from a coach from Eastern Michigan. His name was Vic Finch at the time. I just got a call and he said that he'd like for me to come to Eastern Michigan. So I said, Michigan? I said, it's cold up there. I'm from the Bahamas, I'm not used to that type of weather. So he said to me, it's at like 89 degrees every day in the field house. Well, that's what
Okay.
sold me to Michigan.
Oh, okay.
So
You were sold by the temperature, not
it's
the sun.
89 degrees every day in the field house. I'm sold by that. So that's
Not
how I got in Michigan.
so it wasn't the sun temperature, but the temperature from the heat.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was the fact that I wouldn't be training in the cold because that was my issue. You said asking me to come to Michigan. I know that it's cold up there.
Oh,
I don't want to train in the cold. And
yeah.
he's saying to me it's gonna be 89 degrees in the field house every day. I was sold.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so you were sold there, but yet when you went there, you still didn't want to stay there. What happened?
Well, that's another something. Well, I went there. I loved Eastern Michigan. It was pretty nice. It was everything that I could ask for. It had facility. I had the indoor facility. I had the outdoor facility. I had everything that I can possibly want. But what happened was, this is I got a call. I was in the Bahamas doing for nationals, doing nationals and I guess like and doing this was like 95.
Mhm.
I was in the Bahamas doing trials, and the head coach came to Nassau. I didn't know he was coming to the trials. Anyway, he came to the trials and he said to me that he wanted me to come back to Eastern Michigan, even though the coach, the assistant coach who was assisting me or who was coaching me was leaving to go somewhere else.
Okay.
So with that being said, I'm like, no, I'm leaving too. If he's leaving too.
Yeah.
So being the impulsive person that I am,
Yes.
he was leaving. I liked him. I'm going too. So I
so
transferred again.
so you
Even
transferred.
though that meant that I had to sit out that year, I
Mhm.
was willing to do it.
Okay, and he was moving to Michigan
Michigan
State
State.
University. Okay, got you. So you were willing to risk that sitting out that 1 year.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what caused you to settle at Michigan State University.
Yes.
Okay, so one of the challenges that athletes face during their track and field career, right, is the ability to balance the rigorous requirement placed on athletes, especially when they're on scholarship, right? They have to keep the running up, they have to keep their academics up, they have to really maintain their scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
How were you able to balance both? And what were some of the challenges you faced during those years?
Well, I didn't have any problems at all at Southern, not having problems in Eastern. But my first year at the Michigan State, I struggled a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled a bit, I guess academically, I did struggle at Michigan State for my first, actually not my first year, I'm sorry, my first semester there.
Mm-hmm.
I struggled. But then after that, after my first semester, I was able to catch up and I was fine.
Okay.
But my first semester, I did struggle at Michigan State. I don't know if it was because of the moves, and now, with the moves, there was different programs, but I struggled my first semester at Michigan State.
And how was the coaching there? When you look back at your first university and then your second university, how would you compare the level of training? Was it much better there? What? Well, you did have the same coach, so you fit right into the program. Okay, because
yes.
Okay, I got you. In 1998, you lost your final season of eligibility. And it was said that your coach lost her job. You want to tell us what happened?
Neither of those.
Neither of those. Okay, no worries. When you look back.
You want to know what happened? Okay. My story is more complicated than everyone seemed to think. Mm-hmm. In 96, after the Olympics in 96, the coach that I told you that I followed to Michigan State.
Michigan State, yes.
When I went back to Michigan State after the Olympics, he wasn't there anymore. I don't know why. He didn't, I never got a call from him to say why. All I know was he wasn't there. Then, like I said to you before, and when I asked the head coach what happened to him, all she said was that he left. Then I think it was I trained with her in the fall of that, I think of 96. And then in the end of 97, when I went back I went home for Christmas. Mm-hmm. When I went back there, she was also gone. Oh. So I don't know why she left either. I went home for Christmas and I went back in January. And when I went back, she was gone. So now the head coach for the men team took over coaching the female because again, she was gone. Right. Speaking to the athletic director, all he said was that she left. So that is all I know, was that she left. I know that the coach that I followed to Michigan State, he left before fall started, and she left in, I guess, like after the fall season. Why? I don't know, because neither of them contacted me to tell me exactly why they left.
Right. I was going to ask you that question, that if you have, since that, if you have had any communication with any of them.
I spoke to her. I haven't had any communication with at all. I was truly hoping that when I was inducted a couple of years ago, that she would be there and she would give me some answers. But she wasn't there. So I still don't know today as to, why she left. As for Vic, I spoke to him a couple of times, maybe 1 or 2 times my senior year in college, but I never really did ask him why he left. I just assumed that, he got another job and he left. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So they didn't want you to know the full details. And sometimes that is good too, right? When you look back at your athletic success, right? What are some of the highlights that you can really pinpoint that attribute to your such great bio, to the bio that you have? For example, was it the deep will to win? Did you, or perhaps to prove a point that you are good enough to be on the world stage, or what was it that really, where did that drive come from?
The love for the sport.
The love for
That's what keeps me going.
Okay.
Every athlete has the drive and the competitive spirit, but it's just the love for the sport, the fact that I love track and field, and like everybody else, I love winning. I just enjoyed everything about it.
Okay, fantastic. So we have to give kudos to your elementary school teacher.
Yeah, we sure do. If it wasn't for him, I would never have been where I am today. And then, of course, there's the help along the way. There's the coaches along the way that helped me to even become more experienced or gain more knowledge or more in track and field. I gotta give them I have to definitely be thankful for them and grateful for them also.
Absolutely. So I cannot have this interview without asking you this question before we even go into the next segment, right? Was there a rivalry between the Bahamas and Jamaica?
No, I mean, Caribbean, yes. Again, that's just people being competitive. There's nothing more than people being competitive. No other ill feeling or anything else. It's other than, people being competitive against each other. There was nothing.
Okay.
I understood, later on down that, people think that there was more than, I don't even think that Bahamians thought anything more than, okay, this is Caribbean and we are, this is just a rivalry in the Caribbean.
This is a battle for who can win.
Who can win the Caribbean? That's it. It was, for us, and especially, as you get older and you become adults, now, well, that changed because your whole focus and your whole point of view changed now. You're in college. You're actually in college with, other people. You're not in college by yourself anymore. It's just not Bahamians anymore. There's other people there too,
Right.
So your views and everything changes. Everything about about the whole scenario changes the minute you hit college.